today. Lots of things happened. We think nothing much is going to happen, but you know, Sindarov versus Nakamura, that was like the earliest draw which we had. And he was so happy because you know now he wanted to go back and he wanted to play Counter Strike. So that was Sindarov Nakamura khatam. Okay, now it came to Anish Giri because Anish, if he wins, it will still be some sort of a race. You know, Anish played so well today against Wei. This was the position he had gone some tactical ideas, G5 and so on. Over here, Wei went C6. It was actually quite you know, even that way, but with a lot of imbalances. But this move was a blunder in time pressure, and Anish found the right move, Queen A7 check, King H1, and here if he would have found a move Queen E3, oh my god, it was like -5, -6 situation there. White would have had to give a check, but then guard the back rank because that's the threat over here. Rook E8, Queen F1, and then Queen E2 would have come. And you know, if in such a situation takes, then he wins this, and that position would be winning for Anish. But he happened to miss this Queen E3. Instead of that, he went Queen C5 actually, and he got a better position. It was a very long game, but later at the end there were 2-3 moments he missed. One more time H5 and so on, and eventually Wei, you know, claimed a draw. It was a photographic draw. बहुत time तक game चला, and well, we're all a bit sad because you know it would have maybe sort of kept some race. But now for Sindarov, the next round, a draw, and we can say that he will be a champion unless Sindarov loses the next 2 rounds and Anish wins next 2 rounds, you know, as you can get it. Okay, coming to Prag's game over here. Prag with the black pieces, though the game ended in a draw, it was an amazing opening there. Prag had some new preparation. He went G6 move, and you know, this knight at 6, and what all was happening, he took here. Bishop B2 was played by Esipenko. He gave a check. Rook takes F2. F6 was played to stop this. B5. Knight came to E5, and I think a lot of things happened later. Knight G5 came, Bishop C5, and all sorts of chaos. But the main point was that Pragnananda was pressing slightly, but you know, Esipenko played really well, defended well, and he had no chance. So the game ended in a draw. Another game in the open section was Caruana versus Blue Bomb. That game also ended in a draw. And that's how the open section ended today. We go to now women's section because there is a race over there which is extremely amazing. I would like to start from Vaishali's game today. It was over here. It was a top board. Vaishali was leading by 1 point, and Zujiner with the black pieces played really well. This was the position they landed in, and Zujiner found his move C4. Now Vaishali had 6-7 minutes on the clock, and she had to make like many moves, so it was a bit of a pressured situation. She took the pawn over here, and this little move, you know, allowing d takes c5, oops, I'm so sorry, there's a knight here, allowing d takes c5 gave this square to the opponent. And that was such an important square because once the knight sits over here with knight b4 and the knight goes to d5, white was in absolute trouble later, could not manage the time pressure, and Zujiner played a beautiful game to beat Vaishali, and now she joins Vaishali on 7 points, both of them 7 points. And an interesting thing happened that Bibisara has also, you know, just been following at 6.5 points. Then we have Anna Muzichuk, who was, oh my god, that's a game I want to show you. Where is it? Abhu? Okay, it's over there. That's the game. Anna was winning, you know, and she would have been on 7 points as well. But look at the position. The whole game, she played well. She landed over here. And this was the moment where she gave a very natural rook a2 check. Then the king went to h3, and then the pawn was going to be pushed, and the game ended in a draw. What she had to find was a study like thing, which was king g4. Now you can't push the pawn because of check, and you kind of win the pawns. So you go king h2. Maybe she was calculating this. And now if you give a check, g2, and again you capture this, you are going king h1 and you are queening. So this is a draw. The right move over here, think about it, white to play, rook goes to h5, attacking the h4, the pawn would be pushed to g2. Now you give a check, you have to go over here. Now you bring your king over here, the king has to go over here. Again a check, you can't leave the pawn, you need to go back, and not rook f2, because if king h1 you can't take, it will be a stalemate. So just wait, and then this is how you would have won the g2 pawn, because now it cannot be defended. And she was so close to winning. Anna would have been on 7 points as a leader, but this was missed. And well, she's on 6.5. Going to another game over here, which I would like to show you. Divya's game. Divya was playing with Tan Zongi over here, and I have not seen something like all the pawns or the 5th rank. It was an amazing sight there to see. So she was attacking, she was trying to push, and it was an aggressive play, like always what Divya does. But here Tan Zongi came up with a very nice idea, c5, asking a question to the pawn that you have to make a decision over here. And Divya went d5, and once this was exchanged, what happened was the e5 square is gone, and when the knights get exchanged, you are left with a bad bishop versus a good bishop, which she did manage to find a pawn break and activate it, and the king was under trouble. So it was quite technical, but Tan Zongi did it very well. And yeah, so these were the important games. And here the last game I want to show you, because it is important from the tournament standings perspective, as Bibisara has joined 6.5. It was Lano was earlier clearly better, and a lot of ups and downs happened in the game to reach this position with queen f5 check, which was given by Bibisara. And here g6 was important for Lano. It shows equal for the engine, but it's very, very chaotic. It could have been a draw, but what she played was king g8. And over here came e7. You want to make a queen. Queen went back to b7, and then she gave a check to the king. The king went, and queen takes c6. She won a piece because there came another queen, and that's how Bibisara managed to beat Katerina Lagno. And this year we have the standings for the women's section. And this year we have the standings for the open section. Tomorrow is going to be a rest day, and last phase is beginning soon. Let's see what happens. Bye-bye.